So when I first found out I was pregnant, it was very upsetting. I wasn't supposed to be pregnant because my boyfriend at the time lied to me and told me he was unable to have children. And so finding out I was pregnant was a huge shock, and it was just racing emotions, very unsure of what was going to happen in the future, and it was hard to deal with. And I felt very negative about being pregnant because it wasn't supposed to be. I didn't feel like I was ready to have any more children. I already had one, and I didn't feel like I was able to handle the one I had already because of the severe mental health issues I was going through at the time. So at first, me and the dad were talking about, having a family together and buying a house and moving on with our lives in that manner. But he left me for another woman when I was 5 months pregnant. And at that point, I didn't know what I was going to do because to me, abortion was an option anyways. And being that far along, I couldn't bring myself to hurt a child like that. I considered keeping her myself, and that would have been with my mom's blessing, but then my mom passed away. And at that point in time, I couldn't fathom continuing without my mom there anymore. I needed my mom, and my mom was one of the most important people in my life, and she was gone. And she really encouraged me, and she was my rock. And passing away from cancer, really just watching her waste away was so hard. And at that point, I knew that I wouldn't be able to manage an infant. I didn't know where to go, so I asked my doctor, and she helped me by giving me a list of adoption agencies in the area so that I can know where to start. And while I was looking at the list, I saw Open Arms Adoption, and just the name grabbed my attention because it just seemed so welcoming and loving, and that's what I wanted. I feel like I definitely knew what I was looking for in a family for my daughter. The first and foremost thing I was looking for was love. I mean, I wanted my daughter to feel loved. I wanted her to feel accepted. I didn't want her to go to a family that might treat her differently for who she was. When I was reading through the books, the parents, Scott and Donnie, really caught my attention immediately because their whole book was about love. It was about, their first thing that I read in their book was about thank you for choosing adoption. Even if you don't choose us, you're really helping a family. And then they went on to describe what they love about each other. And I felt like their book felt genuine when I was reading it. And that was something that was really important to me. It was meaning I needed somebody who I knew would take care of my daughter in a way that I would want to take care of her myself. And they provided that opportunity for me.
Hi, I'm Donnie Jacobine, and this is my husband Scott, and this is our daughter Edie. We met in 2014, and shortly after I moved up here to Cleveland. And we knew pretty early on, I feel like from the first couple dates, I was hinting at wanting to have kids. Most people, when they get married, have gifts and things like that. We had a box at our wedding that just said adoption fund, and that was like our cards, everything went towards this. So that was kind of our plan from day one. And we worked through just getting ourselves together, having a little time as a couple and being married. And then I think it was 2019 that we finally said this is the time. Mm-hmm. So we went through all of our classes and our home study, and then we began the waiting period. We met at a Bob Evans and had lunch, and I think we were really nervous. I can't imagine how nervous she was, but we were really nervous for that meetup. But then once we met her, it was like an instant
flowed very easily.
And from there, I think we had all been in agreement. We exchanged numbers. We were texting a lot, and she was keeping us up to date on everything. And I think that was a great opportunity. We got to really get to know her in those weeks before Edie came. And the one morning we were we were at my parents the night before and woke up, Scott woke me up at 8 in the morning. He's like, I just got a call from Autumn. She's headed to the hospital. We were like, oh wow, because she was a week early. So
yeah, you can plan for a C-section and she still came a week early.
So we frantically packed a bag and got on the road. So again, that was just a great opportunity. We got to go sit with Autumn in her room and just talk and, you know, have that time together. I think it kind of put us all at ease to just be together. And then at the hospital, I got to gown up and be in the room for the delivery. Scott was waiting in the hallway and the nurses just couldn't take it. So while I was in there with Autumn, they let him throw a gown on and he was standing in the corner just, you know, to be in there and be a part of it. But I got to cut the cord, which I think, yeah, that's pretty rare in adoption. Then, I mean, she was with us from day one, but we just still had that connection, you know, with Autumn and being, you know, we were in adjoining like rooms right next to each other and got to visit and just keep up on each other and how everybody was doing. So I mean, it never kind of stopped at that point. We just kept talking and sending pictures, and it's just been great to have this connection and have her as part of our life.
Autumn wasn't too sure about an open adoption, and she was kind of thinking about taking some time after Edie came into the world to find herself and may not reach out, but we were totally on board. And one thing we learned early on before we were even with Open Arms was always make sure that you're taking pictures, writing letters, sending information to the agency, because a birth mom may change their mind at any point, and then if you haven't kept up on it, they don't have those memories to be able to look through.
Like when I first contacted the adoption agency, like I was met with kindness and respect, and there wasn't any judgment for what I was going through, and I wasn't treated negatively. And I realized that the ideas that I had about adoption previously were wrong, very wrong, and it really gave me a positive view on things, and I'm very glad that I adopted. Amanda really made it a very easy process for me. She didn't do anything to make me feel negatively about my decision. She encouraged me. I shared my story, and she told me that I was a good person and that I was making a good decision for myself and for my child. And she helped me feel better about the decision because I was already struggling with it. And I'm just really glad that I met Open Arms.